How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of the Prolonged Engagement Show. This is the best place to be right now, wherever you are, however you're listening. We thank you.
Yep.
My name is Kyle.
And I'm Sarah.
And you can follow the show at TPE Engagement on Twitter. And you can go to theprolongedengagement.com for everything in our world. You can also go to our brand spanking new custom URL on YouTube, youtube.com/theprolongedengagement show. You can follow me on Twitter at SoundOverlord, and you can follow Sarah on Twitter
At the Dark Raven 13.
Okay, so first item of business
Is what?
Yesterday. Yesterday we had to put down our 13-year-old Cocker Spaniel.
I'm gonna cry. I know I am.
Named Coco, and
well, that wasn't her full name.
She was a Lady Kokomo.
Yeah.
And about a year and a half ago, she's always had high blood pressure, which is weird in dogs. Dogs aren't supposed to have high blood pressure, but
yeah.
About a year and a half ago, after we lost our first Eskimo dog, Bear, Coco contracted this sort of dog-like AIDS.
But Mom
disease.
gets so mad at us when we call it AIDS.
But it's an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it.
It attacks the red blood cells in the body. Yeah,
so we had to put her on a special medication that would bring her red blood cell count back up.
To normal.
The medication kind of wreaked havoc on her system. She went into complete renal failure, and her liver was starting to cirrhose.
So we had two choices.
She said that, and she was refusing to eat. So the vet told us that we had to choose whether or not that we take her back
and bring her back every day
to get force fed and
through IV.
And also to
for special medication to
get her
kidneys to continue to work, or kidney because one failed completely.
one was totally gone.
But
it came down to quality of life, and we couldn't see her suffer anymore, and so we decided to let her go. She was interesting, to say the least. She was completely Sarah's mom's dog.
Oh yeah. Like she loved everybody else, but her favorite was my mom.
Mm-hmm. And it was if your mom was sitting on the couch and then Coco was up next to her, there was no way that you were getting near that couch. And then there was like the every night where, I'd put her up on the bed and she'd put her paws up on the bed and then like cock her head back to look at me, saying like, "Hello,
I'm waiting
here. You're supposed to put me on the bed." And then I'd pick her up and then she'd growl at me. That's how she was.
Mm-hmm.
She was just a pain.
Yeah, she also had a problem with children.
Mm-hmm.
Any child, if they were blonde, she'd immediately attack. No questions asked.
So yeah, she did not like blonde children, at all.
But that was due to an incident.
Anyway. All right, I'm done talking about that.
Okay.
Are you done talking about it? Okay. So, that was not what I was originally going to be talking about this episode. So,
But we needed to tell you guys because I'm an emotional wreck. So if I start crying for a reason, you guys know.
Okay. You ready now?
I'm fine.
Okay. So, with this being episode 10 and all, it's weird. It feels like we haven't done this for 2 weeks. Get it? We haven't done it for 2 weeks because we filmed it. No, we filmed episode 9 that same day.
Oh, that's right.
Released it. But yeah, last week was Easter weekend.
My parents came up and surprised us.
Yep. So we had that, and we went to Busch Gardens Williamsburg, which we'll be talking about later on.
One of our favorite theme parks.
Oh, it's fantastic. And so I was going to start the show off with a bit of a what would be the correct term for it? I don't know. The revealing thing, maybe? I don't know.
Revelation?
No. I can't think of the word. Anyway, so you did see, because I am going to put this in there. I put up where our Twitter handles normally just pop up. I'm going to put our full names in there as well, so people actually know who we are.
Okay.
And they don't just hear it once. However, it's going to look weird if we're only engaged, yet we have the same name. Isn't that going to be weird? You think?
I've never thought it was weird.
You think?
I never thought it was weird, but people are going to question because...
So I thought I would answer the question.
Okay.
I was looking at, I was watching the one of the Kind of Funny shows, and so they put everyone's name and then their Twitter handle underneath it. And I'm like, well, that
seems like
pretty
a good idea.
That's pretty good. People actually know who you are at that point. They know your name. So there's a thing about that. Deer King is actually Sarah's last name.
Yeah.
I have chosen to take that name when we get married. It's not my legal name yet. However, that is the name that I want to have attached to me. It's the name that I have on Twitter. It's the name that I have on Facebook. It's the name that I have a lot of places where I don't need to actually use a legal last name. So with that, I will explain kind of where that came on to be. I do not want the name that I do not want my legal name because I had been physically and emotionally abused.
Mentally also.
And that's the last name of my biological father, and I refuse to take it. Sarah and I started dating in the 8th grade, and we started spending a lot of time together, and we went to the same school, so our mom would pick us both up, and I'd go over to her house or whatever and hang out a little bit before I went home.
Most of the time we did homework.
Yeah. And yeah, most of the time was
It was homework.
But there was like nothing. But anyway, so Sarah noticed that one day I had this bruise coming out below my below my sleeve. It was pretty big, and she's like, "Well, what is that?" And I pulled it up, and it was pretty big.
Mm-hmm. I remember it was a new one too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It had happened like the night before. That's why. So it had. I couldn't even begin to tell you what the reason was, because there is no reason to do that to your child. But I was chased down my hallway and punched. It's one of the many times that had happened. I had never gotten, the shit beat out of me or anything like that. However, there was enough times where I did have a bruise on something, or there was back in 2004 when the hurricanes came through. Charlie, Francis, and Jean. We weren't together at that point.
No, but I knew you.
This was beforehand.
I knew you. I know. We were friends.
But
we've been friends since fourth grade.
We had a book project that was due.
Yeah.
And I had, I was a shitty student. Didn't do any work. Put it off until the very, very last minute. Went to church every Sunday though. So that makes everything better. I was reading. I think I was reading the book or doing some part of that book project.
I'm sorry. You told me you used Spark Notes.
I don't know. Okay, I was reading something. I was doing some sort of part of it.
Yeah.
And my biological father, Bob, he was cleaning up some brush that had been knocked out of trees, limbs that had fallen down after the hurricane. And he said that I had to help do that. And I said, well, I also have to finish this book report for school. And so he said, well, too bad, you're going to come outside and do this thing.
Yeah.
Well, I decided that I wasn't going to go outside and I was going to work on the book report. So after an hour of actually doing the work, he comes in and I'm sitting on the couch and he gives me a nice big jab in the back of my leg. Right in my thigh, saying that I'd better come out right now or else I'd get another one. Things like that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
When we moved out to that side of town, we put up a carport thing for the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm like 9, 10, and he's sitting there going, "Oh, well, you need to hold this piece of the roof up." Okay.
Hmm.
So I was holding the piece of the roof up, but it wasn't attached to the thing that I was holding onto it. And so the roof ended up slipping off of that piece there. And so the roof started collapsing on top of me. And so
that could have decapitated you.
Normally the initial response of when something is falling on top of you is to run. Yet I was yelled at for running away.
When it could have decapitated you.
It's
all
just
Final Destination style.
It's just things of that nature,
Yeah. The one I remember very clearly, we were dating.
Mm-hmm.
And you were still living on that side of town. And he was still there. Mm-hmm. So it must have been really early on in our relationship. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking to you on the phone, and I heard yelling in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, "Wait a minute," and I hear you open a door, close it, and lock it.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. I don't know if you locked it.
Okay.
And then the line goes dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I was terrified because...
Well, he had pulled the phone out of the wall.
Yeah.
Literally pulled it out of the wall. I mean, just yanked it out of the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went crying to my parents, saying the line went dead. And so I think she called Annette.
Mm-hmm.
And was like, "What the hell's going on?" And Annette broke down, told her everything. I remember it wasn't long after that event that you guys came to live with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, yeah. So eventually, my, moved out of that house with, my mother and 2 brothers, and with Sarah's parents.
That was a very
So.
interesting situation
Very interesting.
because we had, trying to do the math. Don't make me do math. 6 people?
Mm-hmm.
6 people living in a small 3-bedroom house.
But at any rate, well, yeah, that's so. That whole thing is.
I thought you wanted
why,
to change also your middle name.
Oh yeah, well because it's Robert.
Yeah.
So don't want that any part of that either.
Yep.
So yeah, just thought that I would explain some of that since Deer King and Deer King underneath.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thought it'd be good to explain a little bit.
Yeah.
There's just one other thing I wanna expound upon. When my biological parents got divorced, it was written into the divorce documents that Bob could he was not to have any contact with me at all.
Yeah.
Until at which point he would go to see a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And go through counseling, and then if the counselor said that he could go ahead and see me, then all bets are off. That was how it was. And he never went to go see a counselor.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much just, he wanted what he wanted
on his terms.
On his terms. He wanted me back with him on his own terms. And he didn't think that anyone, no court could tell him what to do. Nobody, it was just, and he was supposed to. There was also things like he was supposed to pick up the other two boys, at the end of the driveway. And no, he never did that. He came straight up to the door and knocked on the door and stuff. And
Yeah.
there was a few times where I got into it with him in that one. But he had said, one of the times I can remember is he said something bad about your daddy. And when somebody says something bad about your daddy, I normally just crack.
Let me just say this about my daddy. My dad is one of the most gentle people you will ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like to cause a ruckus. He's very quiet. He's just a very, very sweet person.
Mm-hmm. And he said something bad about him. And I mean, I straight up put my finger in his face and I said, "Don't you dare ever say anything about that man. He is 1,000% better than you will ever be." And yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So yeah. There's just that still gets me. Is like, and I'm sure that part of that side of the family that I haven't seen since then either.
Mm-hmm.
Who come, there's a few cousins or whatever that I've seen since then. They I met reconnected with one cousin who he's been good friends with my brother for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And they've been communicating for years, like best friends. And so I was like, well, there was a time where he was with Ryan and they were supposed to meet up with us. And I said, well, go ahead and bring him along. I want to see what this cat is all about. And
I thought most of it was the fact that you wanted to see how he interacted with me.
Yeah, that was what I was going for. And when he met you and was totally just he paid attention to what you were saying, he was interacting with you, he was being nice to you.
Oh yeah.
After what that side of the family had said about you during that whole thing. I was just going to see if he had already painted a picture of you and he was going to treat you like shit, or he was going to treat you like an adult.
Yeah.
And figure out who you were on his own and not listen to other people. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
He made an opinion of you based on
meeting
you, and not based upon what other people had said. You know, there was one time in high school where there was a girl that was
oh my god, that was freaking hilarious.
Had gone to the same church that Bob had gone to.
Yeah.
And there was I shit you not, this sounds so high school.
It sounds worse than high school.
Yeah.
It sounds like a soap opera.
Bob had offered money to this girl to break you and I up.
Yeah.
Because in his mind, you were the only reason that I was not. It was you brainwashing me into thinking something, not that I had made an informed decision on my own, which I'm sure that most of that family believed that wholly.
Oh yeah.
That I was being brainwashed and not making up my decisions on my own. Like, I don't really feel like being screamed at and hit anymore. Maybe I should try something else. So it was like, ugh. But the girl had come clean, and she said, "Well, look, he came to me and said that he was going to pay me $20 in order to break you guys up." And
I gave.
And then again, I was like, $20, man, that's how much that's worth. That you're only allowing you to. I mean, first of all, that's a fucking childish thing to do, and second of all, $20. Seriously, $20.
It would take me a hell of a lot more to do something like that.
Oh my god.
And
I was just sitting there going, it just had to be on, and that was like almost a year or two after
it was either sophomore or freshman year.
Yeah, something I think maybe.
No, it was sophomore year because I was in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember what happened. Like there was something out the corner of my eye, and I saw a girl staring at us. And we were hanging out with our friends, and I went over to one of them. I said,
"We were staring at it." Well, our friends were, they were pretty.
I loved our friends. They were awesome.
They were pretty good at that school, and they had said, I was like, man, she's really eyeing us over here. And then one's like, I'm gonna go over there and ask her what her fucking problem is. I'm like, okay, go for it. And then so
he walks over there,
straight up walks over to her and figures this out. And then she goes, oh well, that girl wants to talk to you or some shit. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go over there. And she didn't know that I was coming up to her. And so when I come up to her, she goes...
She bolted.
Well, right before she bolted, she goes, I didn't take the money, I swear, and then ran.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? And then I had confronted her again. She goes, your dad paid me $20 to break you and Sarah up. And I was like, why? And he goes, well, she says, you didn't even come to your grandmother's funeral. I was like, no, I didn't come to my grandmother's funeral. I was like, it's too much. I couldn't have done that. Not with the situation that I was in. Mm-hmm. That was not a thing.
No, and especially after the stuff you told me about her.
Well,
Like, I know it shouldn't play a part in a funeral, but...
I mean, it was a constant state of, you're too fat.
You're fat. You're stupid.
Yeah.
The mental abuse.
But that wasn't there. There's still a thing of you eventually got to pay your respects. Mm-hmm. But in that wasn't even a thing. The whole reason why I didn't go was because I didn't want I didn't want to go through that shit with Bob.
Yeah.
And it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, you were too young at that point.
And I was too young, and and at that point too, I was really angry, really angry.
Yeah.
So there was no reason. It would have just turned out bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I didn't do that. But she had said, "Oh, you didn't come to your grandmother's funeral, and so my whole church is saying that you're the Antichrist and shit like that."
No. Wasn't it just not that? I don't remember. It was something to the point that I was the Antichrist, and you were brainwashed by me.
It was just
that I was the evil one.
And that was just a bunch of childish crap. I mean, what can you expect from the Southern Baptists?
The fact that an entire church could believe that.
And also the fact that an entire church is going to turn on a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, that.
Turn on not just one 13-year-old, two 13-year-olds.
Yeah, 13-year-olds. I mean, what
type of church is that?
I don't know.
It's not one driven by Jesus. Sorry.
It's not. But yeah.
As I've learned, Jesus is about acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Not let's make everybody hate each other.
Mm-hmm. That was just it was this
it was hate. That's all that was.
It's hate is what it was. And it all came down to, him wanting his control in his own way, and he would not bend to anybody's will on anything.
Yep.
And it's not even, I may be able to forgive punches and
physical abuse
and physical stuff, but when you can't even make an effort to make anything better, then there's no reason that I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, this would never happen. So I never have to worry about it. I mean, if there was a chance that he would sit there and go, "Oh, well, I really am sorry, and I've worked through all my issues," which, like I'm saying, this would never fucking happen. But I would make a thing and say, "Well, okay, let me meet with you and figure you out on my own, because I can sift through your bullshit better than anyone else on the planet."
Oh yeah.
So, I would be willing to meet and make an informed decision on my own, because that's who I am. I like making informed decisions on my own.
Yeah.
And but he's had 10 years.
Yeah.
To do something like that. 10 years.
Yeah. And we still get stupid shit.
What?
That he says.
Oh yeah.
To this day.
Mm-hmm.
From your brother, and it's honestly funny.
Mm-hmm. There was that thing of saying how,
I did something.
It
was something against me.
He had said, "Oh, well, at some point she needs to understand that I'm still going to be your father-in-law." And I'm like, "Are you kidding?"
That was it. Yep.
I was sitting there like, "Are you kidding? You're not even my father." I was like, "So don't even sit there and say that, because you're not part of my family. Yeah. You're not. You're not. You're out of it."
Yep.
If somebody can adopt a child and that child can become a family, I think that I can adopt parents and those parents can become my family.
Oh yeah.
So fuck that.
Yep.
That's all I have to say. It's a bunch of shit.
Are you talking about how my parents adopted me?
Seriously.
Oh yeah.
Fuck that.
They adopted me before I was even born.
So, I'm just...
Before they knew me, they'd already created a family with me.
He's a piece of shit.
Yep.
And he will continue to be a piece of shit. And, if and he remarried and he's got, other, like, grandchildren now, which makes me funny. He was like, "I'm going to be a grandfather soon." And he was talking about us. And I was like, no. And then he marries somebody and has grandchildren. And I'm like, the irony is killing me. But it's just,
It's interesting.
And, if he's happy and the people that have chosen to be with him for some strange reason, if those people have chosen to be with him and they're happy about their decisions, then they're happy with their decisions. Oh, yeah. What am I going to say to them? If they see something different, then they see something different. But guess what? If you haven't made any sort of attempt to be anything different than what you are, then there is no reason that I need to reevaluate you.
Yeah.
None.
Yep.
None.
Yep.
There has been no apologies in 10 years.
Yeah.
Nothing that says that he has done anything wrong. He has never said that he did anything wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Never. Not once. You know.
Well, you do remember...
My biological mother has said that she has done that she had done some things wrong, and I forgave her for those things, and I still talk to her and see her often. She was up here a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just you know, I can be that person that can reevaluate people and but yeah, at any rate, fuck it. I'm done talking about this. So, I want to talk about something different. You ready to talk about something different?
I haven't gotten to talk, so.
Well, that's because most of this has been about me.
I know.
I'm sorry. I want to talk about something that that you walked through with me last night.
Which one?
I finished the Order 1886 last night.
Which angered me. That ending sucked.
That ending did suck.
I'm sorry. That game should not be a video game. It should be an animated short film.
It was, Sarah, it was like, 8 hours.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It took me forever.
Okay, it took you forever because you never play.
No, it's because the mechanics were fucked up.
That too. The firing mechanics were horrible.
So.
No. I want to talk for this one. Mm-hmm. Because I watched it. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get a single shot in. Like at any time. Like, and if you were lucky, you got one shot, but it didn't knock them down. They were like, "Oh, I was shot in the elbow. Nope, I'm still shooting you," and then you die. And that's what took you so long. Is the fact that you would shoot.
It was constant death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what took you so long. I honestly believe that if you took out all those cutscenes, it was a 2-hour game.
Yeah, maybe. If you were not to die, if you were to not die,
if you were never to die, and you cut out those,
all of the cinematic aspects.
Yeah, there were 3 or 4 chapters worth of pure cutscenes.
No, the one that you said that was there wasn't. It wasn't a full one. There was walking. There was things that I controlled.
You walked.
There was things that I controlled.
There was no video.
I did shoot guys in that part too. Yeah.
But still, there were chapters that was just pure cinematics.
Mm-hmm. It was pure cutscene. Yeah. Yeah. There was this. The chapter thing was weird.
Which was complete bull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're gonna give us a video game, give us a video game. If you want to make a gorgeous, because the game's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. If you want to make a gorgeous short film, make a gorgeous short film.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
My biggest complaint about it was
controls.
The game has one fatal flaw.
Controls.
Okay? No. Listen. The game has one fatal flaw.
Controls.
That fatal flaw is its cinematic aspect. Now, hold on.
It's gorgeous.
You're sitting there going, well, wait a minute. Isn't that what the game is all about? And I'm here to tell you, yes, that is what the game is all about.
There's no story.
That is also its fatal flaw.
There was no
story.
Is
its cinematic aspect. The Order 1886 is what it does is the premise behind it is amazing.
It would make a good movie.
Absolutely amazing. The entire premise, but it doesn't explain it at all.
Nope.
And you get to the end of the game, you're like, what the fuck even happened?
It's almost like a demo.
Yeah, I could put it that way. I mean, if you would, yeah, kind of. And I'm not talking about the shortness. I don't care. I
don't mind the shortness.
And I can sit there, because a lot of people complained about how short it was. And I'm not complaining about how short it was. I'm complaining that they didn't even go into
basic story plot lines.
Why anything was happening.
Yeah.
You know, this guy dies, so this guy is angry. He just sits around for the rest of the game brooding. You don't even understand why the guy died, what exactly went on to get to that guy's death. I was just so mad why they couldn't explain anything in this game.
Some of the most major plot lines in my head were, how could the bad guys basically be in control? Mm-hmm. The entire game, they're in control. Mm-hmm. But yet, this order who's supposed to be watching them...
Yeah. I will explain this.
Plot lines. Plot holes.
For those of you who have not played it, don't play it. It's really not that great. Please do not waste your $60 on this.
You can watch it online.
I'm sure
for free.
You can go to YouTube and literally look up cutscenes. If somebody literally just took the splices of the cutscenes and put those together,
you'd have a wonderful movie.
That's the whole damn game. The whole game is just cutscenes and shitty shooting mechanics in between that. So
with hardly any story.
And so I'm gonna straight up spoil the damn ending of this game.
If you guys,
it's just bad.
If you guys don't want to hear it, this is a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Mute the video.
Okay. So skip forward 15 seconds. You end up shooting Lucan at the end.
Who I knew from the very first time I heard his name. His name, Kyle. His name is exactly Lycan.
Sir Lucan. Okay. Well,
Sir Lucan. Sir Lycan.
He's
a fucking
the order
werewolf.
is
It's basically Van Helsing. A bunch of Van Helsings together.
Van Helsing fight.
Van Helsing fights both werewolves and vampires.
Okay. It's not.
It is.
The Order 1886. The Order itself is based off of the Arthurian.
I know it is.
Knights of the Round Table.
That's why their names are the ones they chose.
Every single knight has a knight's name. So you play as Sir Galahad. His name is Grayson. But his knight's name is Sir Galahad. And
which I also find very entertaining.
And then there's also, a Sir Lucan and a Sir Percival and, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Sir Percival at the beginning who ends up dying.
Yeah.
Okay, and then another Sir Percival takes his place.
So the
first Percival, okay, dies, and you don't know why. The rest of the game,
you're avenging his death.
You are avenging Percival's death as Galahad. You don't know why Percival died. You don't know what he was trying to figure out. You don't know shit. And even when
you figure some of this out.
And even when you get to the point where so Galahad ends up going right after they make Lafayette the new Sir Percival. The rebels attack Westminster.
Why is what rebels?
I don't know. I don't even know who the rebels are, and I don't know what they're fighting against. And so eventually they say that the rebels are working with the half-breeds, which are werewolves. And I have to say, those fucking Lycan...
lycanthropes?
No, the Lycan battles are
Bullshit.
Stupid.
Bullshit.
They are stupid.
They don't work. And
they're stupid. So he goes and he's fighting off these rebels on the bridge to Westminster, and he says, where's that Indian woman that I saw? And so he eventually finds her, goes to this place called Whitechapel, And he finds her, and then he's like all mad and brooding and shit. And you're like, why are you mad and brooding? I don't even know why you went crazy. You're stupid. And so she says,
Why is it always me who gets the calls?
it's not you. I got one last, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
No, I swear, it's always me.
I have no idea where we were. Okay, so he gets up with this Indian woman. She goes, if you want to figure out, if you want all the answers that you are searching for, come with me. And I'm going to preface this with he doesn't find any answers.
He gets more questions.
So he goes to this place that the East India Trading Company has this warehouse, and this warehouse is filled with boxes that have vampires in them. Okay. I don't know if they're dead.
They're not dead.
I don't know if they're alive. I don't know what sort of thing they're in.
It felt like they were in some type of like
frozen in carbonite.
Yeah,
type
deal.
I don't know what that was, but at any rate, you end up burning all of the boxes and all the vampires in this place. Yeah, I still don't understand. I still don't freaking get it. And then, you end up doing that, and then it
was just so confusing.
You do that, and then you fight a bunch of people, and then you go to this other place. You go back to Westminster, and you say, "Hey, well, there's a bunch of vampires," and then the High Council guy, he gets mad at you because he's constantly like, "So Galahad, I am a piece of shit, and you need to listen to me because I'm stupid." And that's pretty much what he goes around. We have this order. And we have to attain this order. And this game makes no fucking sense. Because we are this thing that connects the people with half-breeds. And blah, blah. I can't stand it. It's fucking stupid as shit.
Alfie finds your knee delicious.
I know. She finds my knee definitely delicious. And I don't understand it. She's been licking it for like 5 minutes now. But, You go there. He gets mad at you. Tells you that you can't go in after any vampires. Then Lucan goes with you to the East India house or something like that. And then you go in there. You kill fucking everybody. And then at the end, you find out that the leader, his name is Lord Hastings. He's part of the Order. I mean, he's like one of the head honchos in the Order. And he says, that. Oh, I thought I was getting a call. I was going to be like, what the? And he's one of the head honchos, the councilman of the Order. And he's a fucking vampire. And Lucan is working with him. And
it's a werewolf.
And then so they get captured. They get taken back to to Westminster, and Galahad's put on trial, and
the trial's unfair.
Trial's unfair because they're treating him like a piece of shit and blah 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 blah. And then he gets thrown in prison, gets out of prison, works with the rebels to get back in. I don't even know what's happening.
And his fuck buddy's upset.
And so, he gets saved by Nikola Tesla, and he gets saved by him, and he says he tells the chick that the rebellion leader, he says, "Look, I have to go back into Westminster to get Nikola because he's my friend and I need to get him out, and he helped me survive after I fell off the tower and shit, getting away from everybody." Mm-hmm. So he goes back into Westminster, kills freaking everybody again, gets Nikola, and then Lucan's there, and he says, "Oh, well, show your true form." And Lucan turns into a werewolf, and then you get him to where, you stab him and stabby, and, shanky. And he ends up, turning back into a human, and he's like, "Oh, I've been a werewolf forever." And then the damn order, the leader of the Order comes in and says, like, "Oh, yeah, I've known this for years." And
No, it's great. He goes, I had to protect my son.
Yeah.
I had killed his whole family, but a baby, I couldn't kill a baby.
Yeah, he said
I was
that
like, what the hell?
Yeah, his family was a bunch of werewolves, and so, he said, oh, well, I killed his father, but I couldn't kill this baby, so I ended up adopting him. So I've known he was a werewolf his whole life. And
No, he makes it out to be like he didn't think it would actually show up.
You fucking idiot. You're part of this order that has literally been... The only reason that it's around is to protect people from the Lycans, and yet you brought one into the order. Like... And so he just... he... fucking shit. What is he doing?
He can't kill Luke.
Well, he says, I can't kill my own son. You're going to have to do it. And he goes, since you're no longer a knight anymore, we said that you weren't a knight, so you can go ahead and kill him. But he says, don't ever come back here again. Just kill him. And then so the fucking game ends with shooting Lucan. That's it.
No.
The damn game ends.
No, that's not exactly where it ends. He's then on a bridge. And
it goes to credits, and then he comes back up, and it says, you hear Nikola Tesla going, Sir Galahad, like all of London is working for you, and they've put the town into martial law and blah 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 blah. And he says, we have to regroup, and he goes, I'll be with you shortly. And he goes, and Nikola, remember,
I'm a knight no longer.
I am Sir Galahad no more. And then it ends. And it's like, oh, he's so stupid. My biggest problem with this game is that, the story didn't make much sense. It went from it was like, segment here, segment here, but there was nothing connecting those segments.
Yeah.
And then so also the game was in a 2:3:3 aspect ratio, which is like let's see, like I don't know if you know this. Have you ever watched a movie on your widescreen television, but you still see the black bars up on the top and the bottom? It's like super letterboxed. That's the 2:3:3 aspect ratio. This game was in that aspect ratio.
It should have been a short film.
Which means that there was a time where I was trying to do this stealth mission, which was stupid to begin with, and
I'm sorry.
You hid behind a hedge.
I'm so sorry.
That was sexy. And you hid behind a hedge, and because of the aspect ratio, you couldn't freaking see above the hedge around you to see who you were trying to kill in stealth mode. I was like, why would you do that? And because they were trying to make the game so cinematic, you only had one thing on your HUD. It was the gun that you were using and how many bullets you had in that gun. That was it. That's the only thing you had on your HUD. There was no radar, and the game was so dark that you could hardly see the people. And then also with the actual gun mechanic, when you would pop out, it's a cover-based shooter. So you sit there in cover, and then you pop up, and then you shoot people. But there was no reticle when you weren't aiming down the sight.
Yep.
There was, when you were running, no reticle. This isn't like it was in like a third-person shooter like the shooting things in Grand Theft Auto. Whenever you have a gun out, there's always that tiny little white dot, that shows you where you're shooting. And so you can actually gauge your shots with that reticle. Nope. You didn't get anything unless you were aiming down the sight, which means you had to get out of cover, aim down the sight, and then you had to move while 50 people are shooting you.
And then you die.
Okay? And then so my biggest complaint with the shooting mechanic had to be those fucking shotgun guys. So there's these guys, these shotguns in the game are crazy. If somebody else had a shotgun against you, it was literally 2 shots and you were dead.
Yep.
And you are never given a shotgun in this game. Okay? The shotgun guys are also armored, which means that you had to sit there and I mean, if you were using a machine gun or whatever, you had to shoot directly at their head about 1,000 times. And when you're using a shotgun, you have crazy amount of recoil. So you get like 2 bullets in the head, and then he's already shot you 3 times. Anytime that there was a shotgun guy, I was like, fuck this level. I am throwing this game in the trash, because you couldn't fucking kill him.
Come here.
What?
Come here. You want to move on to something more fun?
I was about to throw that damn game in the trash.
I know you
about
were.
1,000 times.
I know.
I was sitting there. I'd shoot, and I'd get through this. I'd get through this log part. I'd kill 1,000 people, and then there's a shotgun guy, and it's like, why did you have to do that? Why did you have to do that? And then I die, and then it doesn't go back to like you get this little checkpoint. It goes back to the beginning of when you started killing all those guys. So you're like, oh well, now I have to use these things sparingly, and I have to make sure that I don't use my dose of black water. So you could heal yourself with black water, but the black water healing was so if you get shot too many times, then you go down. Okay.
Yes, but no, that's not my question.
What?
What is black water?
It's the water that came out of the Fountain of Youth.
Oh, okay.
The water that came out of the Fountain of Youth. Yeah. You kind of get that from playing through the game. But they just call it black water for some reason.
Which doesn't... So wait, they've been to Florida?
I don't fucking know anything about this game. It doesn't make any sense. So, you
For all those who've been to St. Augustine,
so you get
my joke.
You get the... So, like... So let's just say that you're up against a shotgun guy. And so you shoot him a lot. But, 2 shots and you're dead. Okay? So he shoots you once, shoots you twice, and then you go down on the ground. Okay? This is the first time that you did that. Before you use your black water. You go down on the ground. And Galahad will just sit there for like a minute. And go... like he does the whole game, just breathes heavily and
sorry,
and
he's
constantly groans.
He's a mouth breather.
And so and then eventually it'll tell you to press triangle. So you press the triangle, he drinks the thing, and then it says to button smash on the X, and that will regain his health. Okay.
I can't get this.
So that's a great that is a good mechanic.
Yeah, it's interesting.
If it wasn't for the shotgun guys, they make the shotgun guys, when they kill you, they shoot you twice and you're dead. Okay, the shotgun guys will go after you. They'll get as close as possible to you to kill you. So you get hit the twice. You get on the ground. Okay, but then like I'm saying, you're waiting a whole minute to drink that black water. These shotgun guys will come around where you're hiding. They will come around it, and they will shoot you while you're down. Okay? To kill you. So it's like, why are you even giving me the ability to heal like that if you have made characters in the game that will come around to where I'm hiding and kill me anyway? Why are you doing that? That makes no sense. None. It makes no sense.
Do you want to move on?
You have to get so lucky to kill those shotgun guys.
Kyle?
Every time there was a shotgun guy, it took me 3 and 4 times to get through that thing. And every single time I'm sitting there, every time I killed him, I'm sitting there screaming at the TV, "Fuck you! I got you, you motherfucker!" And
Can we move on to Busch Gardens? We'll have to save FIFA for another time.
I want to talk about
Busch Gardens.
I want to talk about, give me 5 minutes, okay? I want to talk about a game that I really, really like, that I just got.
That I don't like.
FIFA 15.
I don't like it.
I love it.
No.
I've gotten on this for about probably about 6 months.
Since we moved up here.
What?
What?
You're going nuts now. Anyway.
I'd like to
I've kind of gotten on the soccer thing since I've been listening to, I was listening to, Orlando City Soccer Cast since I started listening to Tom and Dan. And so I've been, following Orlando City and, its movement into the MLS and things of that nature. But I had never gotten to where, and so Orlando City was never televised. So I'm sitting there like, I can hear about it, but I never really got into watching a soccer match until I saw the World Cup matches. And I was watching those World Cup matches, and I was like, holy shit. This is such a fun game to watch. This is a really, really fun game. And I watched the
you got to watch the World Cup. I didn't.
The World Cup championship.
I didn't.
Between Germany and Argentina.
I think I was at work that day.
I don't remember. Well, I actually watched it, and that was that 1-0 thing when that was a fantastic goal. Gertrude freaking the ball goes up. The ball is lobbed over onto into Germany's attacking field, and so the ball goes up. Gertrude hits it with his chest. Goes out. Hits the ball's coming down. He ends up catching it with his chest, pushes it forward, and then right as it hits the ground, Gertrude kicks it in with his right foot, and right in the back of the net was a perfect goal. That was probably the best goal I've ever seen in my life. And I haven't seen many goals, so that's not really saying anything. But it was fantastic. So I said, I have got to watch more of this soccer shit. So,
also, what I found very funny is Jack.
What?
Jack Attack Willsby.
Oh, he loves soccer.
He loves football. He calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many times I've gotten messages from this kid. Did Kyle have FIFA 15 yet?
Did Kyle get FIFA 15 yet? And I was saying that I tried the FIFA 14 demo and I've just been so bad at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was FIFA 14? FIFA 15?
Yeah, I played FIFA 14 as the demo. Yeah. And I was just really, really bad at it. I was like, I don't think I want to get a game that, that I'm constantly losing at. I want a game that, I can at least, if I'm sitting there playing every single game and I'm losing, it's like, that's not really I want to win at least one. And I get FIFA 15. Your parents get it for me for Easter, because I was like, I had it, around Christmas time, I was like, I think I want that. And, but I was like, it's okay. It's not on my list. And so, they say, oh, well, we'll just get it for you for Easter. So they get me FIFA 15, and I played that damn thing, and I was like, oh yes. I ended up beating, me. Yeah, I beat you. I lost my first game that I played on it. But that was because I was playing the Barclays Premier League. I was playing Manchester City against Liverpool, and I was Manchester City. And so I lost that one, but it was 2-1, so I did make a goal. But the next one I played DC United against
Chicago Fire.
The Chicago Fire.
That's the first one I saw.
I won that one 4-0. Okay. And then it was you and I. We did go to youtube.com/the Prolonged Engagement Show or prolongedengagement.com to see it.
No.
To see the Let's Play of FIFA 15 that I did with Sarah.
You don't want to see it.
DC United against Manchester United. I beat Sarah 6-0. After that, I started a career with Mike with a character that I created that I named after myself, of course. And so I did that. So I've played that. And then I was winning like 6-0, 6-0, 5-0, and then there was one 5-1. I played a match yesterday against Toronto.
Yeah.
And that was 2-1. So that was like the first one that I've been like, it was like really stressful. And then I played Chicago Fire again and beat them 6-0. So, I'm just sitting there going, am I actually getting good at this game? Or, is it just that I've been, facing off against just terrible opponents? But I really, really, really like the game. And I think it's just, I already liked watching soccer. So playing it in like trying to figure out, I try to open up the other team, well enough and things like that. And I was complaining about it to you yesterday about Toronto. I was like, I cannot open up this field. I just couldn't get through their defenders. Their defenders were fantastic. It was really hard to get through them.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, we can. We'll talk about the other thing now. So last Friday we went to. I haven't
gotten to talk almost at all.
I spent my time, ranting about the Order 1886. Okay, so now we can talk about Busch Gardens Williamsburg. On Friday we took a trip down to Williamsburg, Virginia, and we went to Busch Gardens Williamsburg, which is the Europe park. We've been there a few times before.
Like twice.
We've been there quite a few times.
I think it's only twice.
We've been there more than twice.
You think?
I know so.
Okay. Well, what happened? Well, it's one of my favorite theme parks because of how pretty it is. It is.
They have that thing that says, America's most beautiful park.
They've won it like for 5 years.
They've won it for quite a few many years. We haven't been there in 5 years.
Oh, true.
So
they've won it so many times. They just know they're gonna win it because it's built within the mountains and hills of Williamsburg, Virginia. So they have beautiful flowers out all year round. They it's the walkways are with the hills, which kind of sucked for us because I'm going through another bout of sciatica, so we had to take a wheelchair or rent a wheelchair, and it's not fun going through that park in a wheelchair. Like, it's fun to go through it, but it's not fun.
It's fun for you, maybe not fun for other people.
That's what I meant for y'all, because of the hills. Y'all had to push me up those hills. And it's scary to be pushed up those hills when you know the people behind you might let you go. That's what I meant. It's scary. But the first time we went, they had a ride called the Big Bad Wolf. May it rest in peace. I love that ride.
And that's all Sarah's talking about.
I'm sorry. But Big Bad Wolf was an gorgeous ride. The cars, how do you explain this car? It would hang from
it was an inverted track. But the cars would swing on so the track was straight, but it was only connected by one steel bar,
which might sound really scary.
And then the actual car would swing on it. So
which
when it made a curve,
it would swing you out.
It would swing you out further, swing back in, and swing out while you were going around this curve.
And it was so much fun. It was so pretty.
It was fantastic. It worked really, really well.
Yeah. Especially since the story of the ride is that you're the Big Bad Wolf. And you're going into this village basically to be the Big Bad Wolf and cause some chaos there. And so you're basically this creature that is running inside what is it called? Son of a bitch.
Black Forest?
Yeah. Inside the Black Forest, inside these villages. And so there was a drop in it that was one of my favorite drops of all time. Well,
the best thing about that drop was that, they built
all
roller
the coasters
into the land.
Yeah. All the coasters, all the rides actually are built into the land. They did not demolish or change the landscape for the rides. So they
changed it to a point, but not too much.
No. The reason Big Bad Wolf was my favorite was because when you went down the drop, you'd go over the water and you'd swing out. So you could see the water, like you're looking at the water while you're on this ride, and it was just so pretty.
The top of that drop is at the top of a very steep hill that goes into a creek.
Yeah.
And so you go down the side of the mountain and then you go over the water. That was the coolest thing about it, was that it was like you were following that mountain down to the water.
And I loved it. And so what happened is it went away, and they got a new ride
named
Verbolten, which is a play on words for forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, though,
the actual car is shaped like a car.
Yeah.
So the train is shaped like a car.
Yep. You're going on a
kind of like Rock and Roller Coaster.
Kind of like it. You're going on an adventure to explore the Black Forest.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of similar, because the ride's in the Germany?
Yeah, the Germany area.
Germany area of the park, and so, still really pretty. They did a couple of things wrong, which I'll talk about, but and now to launch track.
Mm-hmm.
They changed that, so now to launch track instead of the traditional chain lift, and I liked it a lot.
It was fantastic.
Verbolten is an excellent roller coaster, especially if you're enthusiast.
It starts outside, and then it goes indoors, to this, all black light,
black lit, pitch black. You're in the Black Forest of Germany.
Yeah. So that was the complaint I had about this is that in the outside of the
if you're not in the line,
if you're not in that Black Forest part, the ride looks kind of hokey.
Yes, it does. That's my one complaint.
Because you can literally see the track going into a building.
Yeah, you can't. They did not fully theme the ride.
They didn't fully theme the ride, so it doesn't really,
Which is probably just us being snobs because we're used to Universal and Disney. But I still liked it.
Well, I mean, they didn't. The Hulk isn't fully themed.
I know.
You go back in the back of that thing and you see cars and.
Oh yeah, they didn't fully do that either.
But it's just kind of they did such a good job inside, and then when you come outside, and it's just a little bit hokey.
But you can forgive it because
you can
of how
see the
pretty
track
it is.
going into the building, and it's just like ugh. But you go into the building and it goes through the black
couple
light,
of launch things
a couple of launch things, and then
it does one of the most fantastic things in the world.
Where the train stops,
and you suddenly hear wolves start crying, yipping, howling,
and then the whole train just drops. Just free fall drops, and this is a long train too.
Oh yeah.
There's probably 8 rows of 2. You think? At least 8 rows of 2, and the whole thing just drops, and then it shoots you off again outside.
Yep. And they kept the original Big Bad Wolf drop. So
they did keep the original Big Bad Wolf drop. So they shoot you outside, it goes up to the top, and then it goes down the mountain around the water there, and then goes back in. That was a fantastic ride. I was really glad that we got to do that.
And I was very happy that there's still a reference to Big Bad Wolf with the wolves howling and the sound right before the drop. But I will say it was kind of ruined for us. There was a group of girls behind us because we were like in the second or third row, and there was a couple of very feminine girls who, one of them the entire time was going, I hate this part, I hate this part, I hate this part. And then she goes, oh my God, the drop. Oh God, that drop. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's the drop I've read about and seen on television. I was like, okay, I'm totally ready for this. And then it doesn't come. I was like, okay. And then she goes, oh God, I was wrong. Here it is. And we drop. And she sits behind me and she's screaming like fully hardcore. Like by the time she gets off the ride, she doesn't have a voice.
Yeah, she really didn't have a voice at the end.
And I was like, it's not, I was like, this is not scary. I was like, you have a serious problem. But yeah, that was an awesome ride. They also have one of the top 10 rides ever, which is Alpengeist.
Alpengeist is in my top 5.
Yeah.
I said that.
And it's also rated top 10 in the world.
Yeah, it's rated top 10 in the United States.
Yeah.
So Alpengeist, that's part of the Germany.
It's still in Germany.
It's Germany part 2. It's a roller coaster built off of a ski lift type thing.
And so it's really cute because
Also wins prize for loudest chain lift I've ever been on.
Oh my god.
So
I've
sounds like a damn
a machine gun.
Oh.
The first time we went on it, we were very surprised. Like, it scared the shit out of us both because it's like brrrr.
It's a really, really long and big track.
Yeah.
And the G-forces that are created on that ride are insane.
Yeah.
It's an inverted coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to the Montu inverted coaster and things of that nature.
It reminds me very much of if they took Hulk and inverted it.
No.
No? No.
It's really, really hard to explain Alpengeist because of the G-forces that are created on it. It's it's one of the classic inverted coaster drops. So when it goes up to the top, it starts to go down and then it curves around and goes underneath. And then you go into a few loops, barrel rolls,
bunch of that type stuff.
Things, the regular roller coaster shit. But the way that they created these, they are like the loops are actually bigger. And the barrel rolls go through a more instead of just spinning on its own, they kind of do this like a dip and then an over and then a dip.
Yeah.
And so it just creates this feel of it that is just unlike any roller coaster that I've ridden before. And so that's why...
Are you coming back?
That's why it was just fantastic.
It's a wonderful ride. It's very different than anything you'll find.
Yeah.
And Alpengeist is actually the German story of basically the Yeti. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If anyone's wondering.
But
that's a great ride.
The first one we went on was Apollo's Chariot,
which is one of my favorites.
That's in the Italy, the Italy part, and Apollo's Chariot is.
How do we put this simple?
Oh my!
It's just a G-force coaster.
It's a 0 G. It's a 0 G coaster. So the whole ride is just steep drops and then huge hills that you go to 0 G's at the top, and you think it's probably
it's a
200 feet up or something like that.
It's a long coaster.
That chain lift takes 5 minutes to get up.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my god, it takes so long.
It made me sad though. The music wasn't
working.
working.
They did have the music off that day, but that first drop is freaking insane.
Oh yeah.
You go like all the way down. You get some massive G's at the bottom. It goes right up the top of there, and I mean, you swear to God you're flying out of that thing.
Oh yeah.
It is the adrenaline rush you get from that ride is just insane.
And the fact that they do not use shoulder restraints.
And they don't have seatbelts either.
Nope.
So it is all it is this weird triangle shaped thing with a bar that comes out of it, and that just comes down onto your lap
and locks.
And that is the only thing keeping you in there. It freaks the shit out of somebody who is used to like having seatbelts and stuff like that.
The first time we went on there, I was like, Kyle, there's no seatbelt. And he's like, what?
You're gonna have to go on.
Oh yeah. He's like, we're already locked in. We're stuck. I was like, shit.
Yeah. That is just, and so there's it goes, over 1, over 2, and then it goes into this nice
like
helix.
loop.
It goes into a helix.
Yeah.
And
then
it
goes back.
Goes down, goes over, and then it does a weird it does a 0 G twist.
Yeah.
What are those called?
I don't know.
It's 0 G curves.
Yes.
It's the same thing that they have at the Rip Ride Rocket.
Yep.
And so it does a where it goes over in curves and then comes over in curves like that, and then over one more, and then it's done.
In.
That is just that's one of my that's
one of my favorites.
So good.
I will say though, I'm kind of upset that Tempesto was not open.
Yeah, I really do want to go on that one. That one's the...
It's in the testing phase, which it's actually... that ride actually was first created in Germany, and it's a launch coaster. They use magnets, and what they do is... Alfie, I need you to move so I can do this. So, like, you're in the station, and it launches you forward, and you go a little bit up, launches you back, you go a little bit up, launches you forward, and you go on the ride.
Yeah, so forward, then back, then forward again, goes up and over. Does like a little barrel roll.
Does a really weird barrel roll because it's a slow barrel roll. It's not a fast one.
It's a slow barrel roll, and then it comes down, and it's like a straight down drop.
Oh yeah.
When you get out of that barrel roll, Oh man, I got to go back there and ride that thing when it gets open. But
I'm gonna be like holding your hand, crying.
That thing is gonna be insane.
Oh yeah.
I'm really excited to ride that.
Yeah.
But what else did we do? We did we did that Dark Castle.
Dark Castle,
which is pretty lame.
It's cute. It's very cute, but it's almost directly what's the word? It's Spider-Man.
It's like Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man, but the storyline is that you're going into this haunted castle of a werewolf that is trying to kill you, and the mother's trying to save you.
Yeah.
And the mother ends up winning.
Yeah, you get out of there. There was one ride that I rode that you didn't ride.
I told you
because after Alpengeist, your leg was
leg went out.
It was killing you. So
because of the G forces on it.
Yeah.
I just no.
And so there's this one called Europe.
It's like
Europe
over
Europe in the air.
That's
I think is what they call it. Yeah, Europe in the air, and it rivals the best of carnival rides.
The way you say that.
It is the most hokey shit I've ever been on in my life. So they start you off in this thing. They go, oh, well, here at Europe over flight, we use this super, super fast airplane where you can see all of the, they say, what do they say in it? We put a 2-week holiday into a matter of minutes or something like that. And all they did was they took hover shots like in a helicopter.
Yeah.
And they took hover shots of different,
famous cities.
Not even famous cities, just famous places in Europe. So there was one of the I think it's called Blarney Castle
the Blarney Castle in Ireland.
In Ireland, yeah. You start there.
Well, it's in the Irish area of the park. Yeah,
it's in the Ireland area of the park,
which doesn't have any rides.
Except for Europe in the air. But
it's a family ride.
You start.
No, it has Loch Ness in Scotland.
Loch Ness is in Scotland. That's right. Yeah. I like how I said Scotland.
Well, I said Scotland.
Hitman. But you start off at the Blarney Castle, then you go to like Stonehenge. From there, I think you go, and then you fly over. Neuschwanstein, but okay, you don't fly over the front of Neuschwanstein.
You fly the back.
You fly around the back of it. You don't even get to see the front.
Probably because they didn't have the rights to use it.
You didn't even get to see the front of the castle. You just kind of saw like when the clip started, Neuschwanstein was already cut off in the frame, and so you just kind of saw it as you were passing it. And I was like, wow, that was really, really lame. And then, of course, your daddy rode it with me, and I was like, hey, I've been there to Neuschwanstein. He goes, oh, I didn't. And I was like, yeah, I know. And so, because he wasn't there.
I know, he wasn't there
point,
then.
But you fly over that. Then you fly over the Colosseum in Rome. Eiffel Tower, what's the arch called? The arch... Torre de Paris or something like that.
Yeah.
I think is what it's called. That arch in Paris. You go through there. And it was just so hokey. You
told me that you were glad I did not waste my time.
Yeah, because it was a total waste of time. When you start off and you're looking at one place.
Is it?
And then you're going through it, you're looking around, as a hover shot, and then all of a sudden, it pans away real quick, and then it goes to this weird, like, wormhole looking
effect,
wormhole looking effect, like you're but it's got blue in its clouds, so it looks like you're going really, really fast through the air, and then it just bleeds away to the next place. And I'm like, this is the lamest piece of shit I've ever been on.
Was
like,
the Leprechaun ride better?
Yes. And I remember that being a total piece of shit too.
But
the Leprechaun ride was better. Yeah.
The Leprechaun ride was so
everything
cute.
that park does really, really well, they just need to demolish that whole part of the park. That needs to just be redone from the ground up.
Ireland?
It is so bad.
No, Ireland I think is really cute because it has a bunch of shops. It has like a bunch of food places, and it has a bar.
Yeah.
You see what they think of Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Bars.
They do have Guinness there.
They do have Guinness.
That's good.
Yeah, the rides we didn't ride this time, but we've ridden before, like Loch Ness.
Loch Ness is their oldest one.
It's their oldest one, and it's actually really neat. What they did was really neat. They did an interlocking loops. Mm-hmm. And thus, this is the reason why we don't go on it.
Yeah, the technology at the time that they had to create it wasn't that great. So to get them to interlock, and they had to.
We also called it neck break.
Yeah, the loop on it is not a circle. It's an oval. So when you go up to the top of the loop, you go up smoothly, and then at the very top of the loop, it like cracks you around to go back down. And so when you get up that loop, if you're listening, to the audio version, you're not going to get this, but you're riding in it, and you go up, and then it's just and it really just slams your neck back.
Which is why we called it neck break.
It's
we don't go on that one.
Yeah, it's.
Is there anything else that we missed on there?
Griffin's there, which is the Shikra equivalent.
I told you about that one.
I went on that a few years ago.
You would have to get me completely plastered drunk to get me on Griffin.
That's the that if you haven't heard of Shikra or Griffin, they're the exact same ride.
You said Griffin was shorter.
No, they're literally they're carbon copies of each other.
Okay.
I
wonder
it's 3 rows of 8 people on one car.
They keep you up there longer. They hold you longer.
Griffin does hold you longer. Shikra holds you for 3 seconds. Griffin holds you for 5. But it's a floorless coaster, but it's not inverted.
Yeah.
So if you're in the very, very middle of the car, then you see track underneath you. If you're on the end, like I was on the very, very end, you look down and there's literally nothing below you.
I would have lost my shit.
And so you're up there 200 feet up. You get cricked at the top of that ride, and then after 5 seconds, it lets you go. But then you're going straight 90 degrees down.
Yep.
And
this is. I will tell you a story, guys. I rode Shikra once.
Shikra is at Busch Gardens, Tampa.
Busch Gardens, Tampa. It's their version of this ride. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I went on it was because of Ben and Carol Wellsby. Carol's like, come on, Sarah, we'll go on it and it will be fine. And I don't like heights. I don't like feeling like I'm going to fall. So this is when Shikra had the floor in too.
Yeah, Shikra had the floor in at that point.
And so I'm sitting there and we're in the 3rd row of the ride. And I have my eyes closed because I'm terrified here. I was not a happy camper. And Ben tricks me because he's already been on it, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he knows when it's going to fall. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh, look, Sarah, I can see Disney from here. I opened my fucking eyes. And I was like, we're really weird. And it drops us. Yeah. And I tried to scream.
It's a great ride.
It's a good ride. Yeah. I'm not going to hate on it. But if you're really afraid of heights, don't go on it. Mm-hmm. because the fact that they hold you there, you were just being such a butt today. They hold you there, and you're. It was honestly the worst.
If you're that crazy thrill seeker, go for it.
Oh yeah, go for it.
It's really, really good.
It's a great ride.
I like it. I just kind of lost my mind that I was sitting there for 5 seconds while literally looking down to my death.
Yeah,
that just kind of
you're looking down at your death.
That kind of got me.
And but yeah, I came off of that ride. Like, I don't even remember. Like, I think I liked it, but at the same time, I said I will never ride it again. Mm-hmm. And I started punching Ben for pranking me. I don't know why I thought I could see Disney.
You can't.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's too far away.
But he got me. He got me to open my eyes. Mm-hmm. Because I remember sitting there, I'm like, I'm not looking because I know I'm really high up. And he goes, I love Ben. I really do. He is honestly like a brother to me. But the fact that he did that really pissed me off.
Yep.
And it scared me, and I cried. Is there anything else on our list for today?
That was it. This was super, super long.
Well, because you spent the first 30 minutes explaining history. Uh-huh. And then you spent another 25 minutes bitching about the order.
Well, screw me. This is what our people want. This is what our people want.
If you guys
tell her that that's what you want.
No, you want to hear me talk more.
But yeah. Thanks for sticking with us on this one, guys. I know that we spent a lot of time going over my stuff at the beginning of the show, and thank you for listening and watching and everything.
Yeah.
So, this was episode 10 of the Prolonged Engagement Show. My name is Kyle.
And I'm Sarah.
And follow the show at TPE Engagement. Go to theprolongedengagement.com for everything that we do. You can also, we are available on YouTube at youtube.com/theprolongedengagement show. We're also available on iTunes. If you go to theprolongedengagement.com, you can just click our YouTube and our iTunes
and get there.
label from there. If you want to get the podcast on your iPhone, on your podcast app, you can literally search The Prolonged Engagement,
and we will come
up. Only thing that comes up when you search that, which is really nice. But you can just go to the website and then click available on iTunes, and it will open the podcast app. Yep. It's really nice. But at any rate, follow me on Twitter at SoundOverlord, and follow Sarah
at the Dark Raven 13.
And that was episode 10, and we will see you guys next week. Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
We are going to now put the shows up at noon every Saturday.
Yes.
So. We decided to get a little more consistency. So, whenever we release, the show will be released every Saturday at noon, unless we say otherwise on our Twitter Twitter feed.
Due to something that might come up.
If we have a Let's Play, a Loot Crate unboxing, a short, anything, they're always going to be released at noon on whatever day they're going to be released. So if we say that we're going to put out a show, look for it afternoon. Because it will be up there afterwards.
Yep.
Okay? All right? Okay. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.